Good evening and welcome to Real Fellas Talk Sports. I'm your host for this evening, Larry Abels, and I'm joined by my fellas, the greatest group of sports analysts ever. So let's start off with the introductions. I'll start off with right below me on the screen is one of my longtime friends from the old neighborhood, Charles Snow. How you doing, Chuck?
Hey, Larry, I'm great. Can't wait to get into the show, cut it up. There's some things about the playoffs that I want to get off of my chest, so can't wait to do it.
All right. And from the city of Indianapolis, Dr. David Burnett. How are you, Dave?
I'm doing great. Thank you for the doctor there. I appreciate that. By the way, it's 25 days to the greatest spectacle in racing. We will never talk about it on this show, but I'm talking about it right now, and that's the Indianapolis 500. So I just wanted to say that.
What is that, a car race or something? What is that?
It's the greatest spectacle in racing.
Right.
It's the largest audience in sports.
Okay. A lot of Trump people there. Just kidding.
You know what? We don't do politics here.
Okay, and now let's move on to the sports doctor himself, Go Earl Rush. How are you, Earl?
I'm just doing great, Larry. Good to see you and David, and I'm looking forward to, even though I'm a Lakers fan, I'm looking forward to lambasting Charles with the Lakers performance. So I'm excited and I'm ready to go.
Okay. Well, I hope you can contain your excitement just for a few minutes because I'm going to start with the Eastern Conference, but we're going to get to the West first. So last night, Knicks and 76ers, another great game. Chuck, what were your thoughts on that game?
Unbelievable. So look, and we're going to break that game down. I watched that game closely. So I have a philosophy, and here's my philosophy. If you're up 3 with 7 seconds to go, foul the guy. You don't have to let the guy shoot a 3. What a game, though. What a great game.
Hey, give a shout out to Reggie. How you doing, Reggie? Thanks for joining us, buddy.
Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Reggie.
Earl, your take on the game last night.
It was the second greatest game that I've seen this week after the Lakers game. We've had some really good couple close games in the playoffs. I thought it was a fantastic game. I was on the edge of my seat the whole game. It was very exciting, and I am glad that Philadelphia won.
Hey, Gregory. Thanks for joining us again, my friend.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Greg. Good to see you, buddy.
And they sure did.
And David,
Yes,
what did
sir.
you think of last night?
Well, the Knicks and the 76ers, good game till the end. Got to call a timeout. You got to do something, break it up, do something. But they didn't. They lost, and they have a chance of losing the series because of it.
What's up, CJ?
Give a shout out to CJ and Brian Gilmore. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Brian.
Hey,
Brian.
So, did the Knicks lose that? Did the 76ers win that game, or did the Knicks blow it?
No, they did, Larry. So, obviously, with Maxey having the 4-point play when he got fouled by Mitchell Robinson, Mitchell, stay on your feet. You're 7 foot. You don't have to. Anyway, that was a big play. And Maxey, my God, we have so many young emerging stars that have come out of this playoff and this season. And then the other big 3 he hit. So I think they won the game, but New York missed the free throws. Brunson missed one. Hart missed one.
Yeah.
So what an ending. It was, what do they call that? Serendipity or the karma, because Philly had lost the game similarly. So then they just won one back, if you will. What a series.
David, who you give credit to? You give the credit to the 76ers for taking it, or the Knicks? Did the Knicks let it get away?
I think the Knicks let it get away. At some point, you've got to win the game. If it's in your hands, you've got to take it. And they didn't.
What's your view on it, Earl? I think, at least in my view, I think the game 2, the 76ers let get away. Was this a game that the Knicks let get away, or did the 76ers just take it?
No, the 76ers took the game. The 76ers took that game. The Knicks didn't give it away.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Go ahead, Chuck. What are we gonna say?
How about the group? What is your guys' thoughts? If you're up three with 7 seconds to go and the guy has to go full length of the court or 12 seconds or whatever it was, is you guys' philosophy just play good defense and let it happen versus fouling him and putting him on the foul line, and the worst you can do is get the ball back?
I think, like Brian Gilmore said, I think Tibbs called for a foul, but maybe Maxey shot it from so deep before they even had a chance to. He shot it from, just across half court. That looked like a bad shot to me at first. I'm like, why is he shooting it that far?
I heard somebody say
that. I would plenty of times I see the NBA, I think they should foul and, they don't do it.
Yeah, I don't get that.
Anybody else want to chime in on that? Is it a good strategy to foul when you're up 3?
Yeah, not. Well, I'm not a big fan of that. I don't see it happen often enough, and that's probably the reason it didn't happen.
Earl, opinion on that? Foul or play it out?
Well, common sense says the foul. If you need 3 points and you shoot, you only 2. But I say play it out because hey, you go to the foul line, hit one, miss one, you get the ball back, and then you get a 2, and then just go with the flow. To answer your question, I just play it out. I'm sorry for a long, unnecessary answer. I would just play it out.
Hey, Earl, who's going to win this series?
The Knicks, the 76ers, because the Knicks will win the series only because Embiid is not 100%. They're going to go up there and the 76ers will win the next game. They'll go 7. They'll go in the Garden. And 76ers will do some dumb stuff. Somebody will do something dumb. The Knicks. Sorry, it took 5 minutes to answer a question I could have answered in 10 seconds.
Pretty good
The
question.
Knicks are going to win the series.
Response was fine. We like thoughtful responses on the show. David, who wins the series?
I'm hoping it's the Knicks, but I don't know. I think it's a toss-up. It's a pretty even series. Embiid being hurt makes it closer than probably what it should be. Brunson up and down. He's had a couple of big games, but he hasn't been as consistent as he normally has been through the season. So I'm going to pick the Knicks then.
Chuck, who do you think is going to win?
I'm going to pick the Knicks, but I don't know what Brunson you've been watching, David. He had 40 last night.
That's what I said. I said that, Chuck. I said he had a couple of great games. You didn't listen closely.
Oh, I heard you. He didn't have a bad game, is what I'm trying to say to you. He had not.
Well, first of all, I did the assessment correctly. You heard incorrectly.
Okay. Yeah, I think the Knicks will win, Larry. But like you, I'd love to see a Game 7 Saturday night in the Garden, 3-3 Philly, New York. It's pretty cool. I saw somebody, too, on one of those shows, or maybe it was Dr. J or somebody. They said, do not let those Knicks fans come back into Philadelphia for the game tomorrow night. Stop them at Trenton. Stop them at Trenton. Don't even let them come down to Philly and get into the arena.
Wait a minute, y'all. I'm getting something from the booth. Yes, we have someone from Indianapolis here. Yeah, I was going to get to that. Oh, okay. David, what happened to the Pacers?
The Pacers, they struggled and they got their ass kicked. I'm not surprised. I told you all from the beginning, this is a young team that is capable of playing well, also capable of playing poorly. Yesterday, they played poorly. I turned the game off at halftime. It was over. The body language was horrifically bad. The shot choice poor. The energy, the urgency was not there. So, should they win tomorrow? You damn right you better freaking win. But if they lose, I won't be surprised. They're a young team that's never been there. Only one player on that team has had any significant playoff experience, and that's Pascal Siakam. After that, they are a young team capable of winning big, capable of losing big. And that's my hometown team that I have embraced for 50 years almost.
Wait a minute, I get more information from the booth. Oh, it says ask someone else a different question. Chuck, How did this team get to a game? How did they get into game 6 here without
Listen, man, I don't know what David's talking about. I really don't. When you have their 2-star players sitting on the bench, Dame and Giannis, and they look ridiculous. They look terrible. And you got this guy that he's been talking about.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now. Doesn't matter. If you're a young team,
he's been talking about all year.
Yes. Hold on. If we want to firepower back and forth, your team is out.
We're going to
don't get me started.
Okay.
Your team is out. My team is in.
Let Chuck finish. You'll have ample time to talk about Chuck's team.
Hey, Jeff.
Thanks for tuning
Thank you,
in,
Jeff.
buddy.
He's been a Pacer fan as long as I have. Amen. Thank you.
They look tired. They look terrible. Look, the bottom line is you can't have 2-star players on the other team sitting out and perform that way. And it wasn't close. And so I can't.
If they lose the series on tomorrow, if they lose tomorrow and then lose the series, then I'll agree with you. Until then, go fishing with your Lakers.
A high-scoring team that scores 92 points.
Come on, guys, relax. Let me go to the sports doctor, to bring some sanity back to the program. What's happening in that Pacer and Buck series, Earl? How did we get to game 6?
I'm not. I really don't even understand the question. Are you asking me? Did you think Indianapolis was going to sweep? Ended last night. Why didn't they?
Yeah. Are you surprised?
I don't understand what you mean. How we got the game?
Let me put it another way. Are you surprised that we were going to reach game 6 with the Pacers and the
No.
Bucks giving Giannis and Damian Lillard out?
Well, yeah. Anybody? Yes. I'm surprised they won that game with Milwaukee's 2 starters out. Yes, I am. Very surprising.
So, are we going to get to game 7, Earl?
Yes. It's going to be game 7. Sources say that both of those guys might be back. Giannis and Dame Dollar. Yes, there will be a game 7. Yes. And if there is a game 7, the Pacers.
Milwaukee will win a game 7. I'll concede that. If the Pacers don't win tomorrow, they lose in Milwaukee, no matter who is in the lineup for Milwaukee. Because one thing that we're not taking into account, people like Portis and other players on that team have got an NBA championship behind them. They are a veteran team, even if your 2 stars are not there. It's still a veteran team.
Siakam has a championship ring too.
Siakam has a championship ring, but he's also a new Pacer. So it's still part of fitting into the team. Milwaukee has had players that have been intact, like Portis has been there for the whole time.
So, David, while I have you here.
Yes, sir.
The Bucks, Pacers winner, do they have any chance against the 76ers and Knicks winner?
They have a chance against the Knicks. If the Pacers play Philadelphia and Embiid is healthy enough to get some points, Pacers have a problem with the 76ers for the last 3 or 4 years. Turner can't stop Embiid, period. All you got to do is just keep passing it to Embiid, and Turner will be embarrassed, and Embiid will get 45. Even hurt, he'll get 45. So I want him to play the Knicks.
Earl, do you think the Bucks or Pacers have any chance against the Knicks or 76ers in the next round?
Of course. Yes. Even the next round, yes.
Either team?
Sure.
Okay.
The team that there's nothing going on in the East this year. Boston's not coming out of the East, and the finals will not even be interesting.
Okay, we're gonna get to Boston in a minute, and America wants to hear your opinion on that because you are the sports doctor. Chuck, which series winner do you have in the next round? Do you like best, the Knicks and Sixers or the Bucks and Pacers?
Well, I'll tell you, Larry, the Knicks are over, in my opinion, on paper, they're overachieving. I mean, they're playing what 50 minutes again. I think 3 of them in that overtime game last night played 50 minutes. Okay, and by the way, Philly played a lot of minutes as well. So I believe both those teams, Knicks or Philly, can beat Milwaukee and Indianapolis. Oh, but if Giannis and Dame come back, that's going to throw a monkey wrench in it. But yes, I do think the Knicks or Philly could win that series. I, like you, though, I'm rooting for a Game 7 between Indy and Milwaukee, just because I want to see a Game 7.
Oh, by the way, Chuck, it's the Indiana Pacers.
Okay.
Like the school you went to, Indiana University, it's the Indiana Pacers. Don't mess that up.
I was confused with the car race and the basketball team. My bad.
Oh, I'm getting more stuff from the front office. Wait a minute. Oh, they're informing me to stay off Davis' case because my hometown team hasn't played a meaningful game in years of the playoffs. Okay, let's move to the West now. I'm sorry. Let's move to the other matchup in the East. The Celtics and the Heat. Can Eric Spoelstra work any of his magic to force another game out of this series, or is it going to be over tonight? I don't know what the score is right now. They started at 7:30. Chuck, we'll start with you.
I think it's over tonight, even though I know we were talking about it before we came on the show. I know the tall shooter is hurt, but I think they got their wake-up call when they lost that one game, and I think Boston will close it out tonight.
Who's the tall shooter? They have several tall
His
people.
name is Porzingis.
Kristaps Porzingis. Earl, Boston clinching tonight?
Yes. Everyone knew that. There was never any mystery about that. Even when the Heat got lucky and won one game in Boston, that series been over.
Well, if Brian Gilmore's reporting is correct,
Wow.
it certainly looks like that.
Although a team was down 31 the other day and took a lead with 2 minutes. Anyway, we'll get to that in a second.
But they didn't win. We're not playing horseshoes, Chuck. This is a playoff.
We're not sure that this game is over yet either. Go.
If you're not sure that this game is over, you need to get checked out.
Okay. Let's see. Lauren Lassiter thinks that it's over too. Well, yeah, she thinks it's over too. Hey, Lauren, how you doing? Thanks for tuning in.
Hey, Lauren.
Thanks for tuning in.
Who is Brian Gilmore? Whose friend is Brian Gilmore?
He's a friend of mine.
Okay.
I don't know him really well, but my family knows him.
Okay. He
Thanks
can
for
be our
tuning in,
friend
Mr.
too.
Gilmore.
He's our friend too.
And he's a distinguished law professor at the University of Maryland, now formerly at the Michigan State University, and from the DMV.
Now, wondering what Reggie Sanders, my good friend, is talking about. Generally, I kind of respect his opinion. Usually, I respect his opinion. I guess anybody's opinion can be wrong sometimes.
I don't think he's talking about
wrong.
this series. He's
wrong.
not talking about this series, I don't think. I'm trying to give you an out, Reggie.
He's talking about the
not
series of his games.
He's wrong.
Thanks a lot, Brian.
Thank you, Brian.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay. The Celtics, and I know Earl's opinion, but and we'll start with you. Are the Celtics really showing that they're a superior team, the most superior team in the East? Or Earl, does anyone, and we'll start with Earl, have any doubt about them being the most superior team in the East?
No, they're not the most superior. I can't tell you who is the superior team, but it's not the Celtics.
That's going to be the next question. Good thinking.
It's not the Celtics. The Celtics are not coming out. Anybody who thinks the Celtics are coming out are tripping. You can't see that they're not no championship team. There's something wrong.
Okay.
Ooh.
David, are they the beast of the East?
The Celtics are the top team in the East, even though the East is not prime material this year. The Celtics are still the best team. Now, let me just a couple of things about Porzingis. He's 7'3", but he plays 6'7", and I don't believe in him. So the best thing for the Celtics is to have Al Horford out there in his place.
Well, speaking on that, and Chuck, what do you think the impact of Porzingis' absence is going to be? He averages 20 points a game. I mean, that's not anything to sneeze at right there. He's the third leading scorer.
No, it isn't. And he's an outside shooter, and that's really why they went and got him, because last year in the playoffs, Boston was terrible from the outside in terms of shooting the basketball. But as much as I would love to agree with Gogo, I really would in this case, but I just don't see another team that can beat Boston, even though I, too, don't trust Boston. But I just don't see another team that can match up with them. Thus, I think they're going to come out.
Indiana, Philadelphia, and who else? Who's in Milwaukee? They all can beat Boston, in my opinion.
I can't
I
see
would
it.
love for the
I can't see
Pacers to
Indiana
beat
beating them.
Boston, but I don't
Are
think
you
they can
serious?
beat Boston.
Indiana will run Boston off the court.
Not in the
Thank you for the encouragement, Earl, but I don't think so. And you know I love my Pacers.
Hey, Phyllis.
How you doing?
Hey, Phyllis,
for
thanks
tuning
for
in.
joining us.
Hello, Phyllis. How are you?
Okay. Let's think about the Cavs and the Magic. I don't know if you guys have been watching these guys. Oh man,
Heck of a game.
that game last night was as good as any game as I've ever seen. Is Banchero starting to show the world that he's really a top-notch player? Chuck, have you seen him play?
Well, I think the short answer is yes. The fact is, he too is one of those young guns who are coming. He might be a little bit behind the other ones, but he's another one of those young. He had 39 in that game last night. I don't even know. I mean, the next person on Orlando's team had 13 or 14 points. I don't know how Orlando does it, and yet they're right there. I guess that thing is all tied up 2 games apiece, that series.
It's 3-2 Cleveland
It's
now.
3-2, Charles.
Okay, it's 3-2 Cleveland.
But,
Okay.
but look at, it's 2 games apiece. Then it's a 104 to 103 game. It can't be much closer than that.
Oh, and Mobley had to have a block, and Mobley may have had a block at the end to win it. So,
Well, usually when 2 non-factor teams play together, the games get close. Neither one of those teams are not a factor.
the thing is,
Not
Cleveland,
the least.
the Cleveland has some personnel, though. Cleveland
Neither
does.
one of those 2 teams are factors.
Oh,
Period.
So you don't think either one of them will beat Boston in the next round then, right?
No.
Okay. Dave, you have an opinion on that series?
I do. I mean, I understand the disdain for Orlando, the disdain for Cleveland. I'm hearing disdain. I'm hearing disdain. Maybe it's from Earl.
You're not hearing disdain from me. You're hearing facts. Neither one of those teams are any good. That's all.
That's disdain.
That's not disdain. That's facts.
Look it up in the dictionary. That's disdain. It has Earl Rush says in the dictionary. It says that.
Finish your thought. You hear this
Reggie ain't giving it up. I hear you, Reggie. Fight that
Please,
good fight,
please,
baby.
any of you guys, please refrain from laughing at those non-funny remarks that have just been made.
So
No, I think Orlando is a lot better than we give them credit for. But it's like the only thing good in Orlando is Disney World, and everybody who goes to Orlando leaves. And so they're just a team that we seem to forget about. We don't want to give them credit. Banchero will become a star, but he won't become a big star in Orlando. He will move to another team within 2 years. So I'm just happy they had a winning season.
well, the other team, the team they're facing they also are somewhat under the radar, but Garland and Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell's a stud.
Yeah, and Garland is a player
I think
too.
both of them are studs.
Right.
Do
And
you,
Mobley's good, and they got this.
Let me
shooter-
ask you guys before you go any further: can you? One of the guys you said was good. Both the guys you said were good, and then Larry said Garland's a stud. I don't think Garland's a stud at all.
he plays very well. Okay, stud is certainly subjective, but he plays very, very well, almost against everybody. He doesn't dominate everybody, but he puts up points. He's another young guy, rising guy again.
Mobley's pretty good. Jared Allen guards that rim. Strus is a shooter. They've got some personnel. Now, they had injuries this year, but Cleveland is not. I mean, they got personnel for real. And they got the kind of personnel that maybe could match up to Boston more than some of those other teams, to be honest with you, because of the personnel that they're all playing well.
And they and the Knicks had a great series
Last
last year, and
Knicks beat 'em.
yeah, I think they really weren't that far behind the Knicks, and the Knicks are pretty good.
Yeah.
Hey, David, are you and Reggie real good friends? Because he agrees with every goddamn thing you say. Excuse me. He agrees with it. Look at that. No, what the hell is going on? Everything. I agree with David. There's nothing wrong
Well,
with it.
let me say this. I know Reggie from broadcasting and from the media, and we have debated for the last 12 years on Facebook, and I disagree with him mostly. But
There's a shocker.
It seems like not today.
well, he's showing his intelligence today.
Too many periods of inconsistency.
Thank you, Reggie.
Yeah, hey, Greg, we want you to come on the show too.
We'll get you on, Greg.
Yeah.
Hey, but they're not even going to make it to the finals. The Celtics will not even make it to the finals. I'll tell you that.
Okay.
Right now.
Let's move on to the Western Conference now. We got the Magic and Clippers series tie.
Hey, Larry, before we do that, who do you think will win that Cleveland Orlando series?
Oh, I guess Cleveland only because they're up 3-2 right now. That's the only reason. I think it's very close. Clippers and Mavericks series tied 2-2. This is another series that I think is very, very, very competitive. Could go either way. Earl, who's going to win that? The Mavericks or the Clippers?
Reggie says Celtics are done.
The Mavericks will be coming out of the West.
Ooh. Tied 2-2. David, who do you have, Clippers or Mavericks?
Oh, they both suck.
You have such disdain for them, David. Good grief.
Disdain is the word of the day. My disdain is greater for the Clippers because they got Paul George, and he will be not playoff Paul. I'll say
There's a new gentleman.
Hey, Mr. Schaefer Suggs.
Schaefer Suggs, one of my former teammates, the brief time I played football.
Thanks for joining us, Schaefer.
Hey, Schaefer, how you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
I gotta leave.
Ball State University, by the way.
I gotta leave in 2 minutes, but I'm not leaving because all of David's friends are coming in. Because I have a disdain for Midwest fans. Midwest fans, I abhor.
Okay, so we'll try to get through as much as we can before Earl has to leave. Were any of you impressed with the OKC sweep over New Orleans?
Hold on, man. I don't want to do unless you're the
moderator. Charles, you moderated last week.
I'm sorry.
Chuck, what would you like to say about that?
I just wanted to mention that, man, that game the other night between Dallas and the Clippers, Dallas was down 31 points, and Kyrie went on a shot. I mean, Kyrie is such a talent, and that was a hell of a game. Took a lead with 2 minutes to go. It looked like Dallas was going to pull that out, and then the Clippers did what they had to do. Harden and George both had 33 and looked good down the stretch. But anyway, that was a heck of a game.
You know what I noticed? When teams have big comebacks, they need to take the lead right at the end of the game because usually if it's a few more minutes, the other team can see if it gets some points and stuff like that. And it's no scientific reason for that. That just seems to happen to me all the time. Right. That was a great game. So the winner of that series is going to play Oklahoma City. I'm going to ask you guys, from what you've seen of Oklahoma City, are you impressed with them? Of course, they didn't play. Zion didn't play, the big horse for the Pelicans, and they put them away pretty quickly. David, what do you think of OKC?
OKC is outstanding, but we're not going to give them enough credit because it's OKC. If the jerseys were the Los Angeles Gold, y'all would be all over the OKC Thunder.
So wait a minute, you're speaking for us. I'm just asking you.
No, I'm not speaking for us. No, I'm talking about most people.
Okay.
This is too intelligent a group to overlook OKC.
Wow, nice. Thank you.
Much better.
No, OKC is really a good team, a young team, youngest team in the NBA. They have stars, and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is tremendous. The big boy is showing that. I mean, he played all 82 games. All 82. He didn't get hurt.
Nope.
Chet Holmgren is for real. So OKC, it'd be great to see them get to the finals. It'd be great to see them give Denver a run for its money. Don't be surprised if OKC is in the championship series.
So
Don't
you
be
think they have a
surprised.
good chance against Dallas or the Los Angeles Clippers? That's right, because you think they suck. Earl thinks that Dallas is going to come out of the West. Earl, do you think that OKC will give Dallas a rough series in the next round where they go 6 or 7 games when they play, if they have to play them?
Yeah, there's a possibility to go 6 or 7. Yeah.
Okay, so you have a lot of respect for them, right?
No, that's not. That's two different things.
Okay.
I don't have a lot of respect for OKC because they don't have a monster. They don't have a big man. They don't have any beast that can go in there and grab no bounds when you need to have them. And they don't have nobody that's really blocking those shots, even though there's 7'2" boy at 7'2".
He's one of the top shot blockers in the league this year. I just will say that.
Yeah, he has been making some blocks in the playoffs too.
I've been watching them a lot. The game that I have watched with my own eyes, I haven't seen a lot of blocking. I can't say what you guys have seen.
Well, maybe when you were watching, you went to get some chips.
I hope you guys have a good evening. I'm not trying to get into nothing with you guys, so I'll talk to you guys next week.
All right,
See you next week.
Catch you next week.
Oh, he really is leaving?
Yeah, he announced he had to leave early today.
Oh, did he?
He's a sports doctor. He's in big demand. So
yeah, this time of year, getting some heads up on some bets, and I hear you.
So Chuck, do you think OKC could put up a good battle against Dallas or Los Angeles Clippers?
Yeah, yes, I do. But I want to follow David's logic, and I'm sorry, David. I just want to follow your logic. So the Pacers, they can't go that far with 2 stars out for the Bucks because they're too young. They really haven't been in there. They're young and they haven't been. Yet OKC could maybe win it all because they're loaded.
They are loaded. They are. Hey, for you to make the comparison with OKC and the Pacers is premature. It's wrong, and it's factually incorrect. Let me just say this. The Pacers have never been there. If they were winning the East like OKC is winning the West, I would have a different opinion. But the Pacers have lost many silly games along the way, even though they have a winning record this year. OKC is playing like they want to win a championship, no matter what their age is. Plus, they have an emerging star who is no worse than second or third in the MVP balloting in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. The Pacers don't have the player of that caliber at this time. Even though Halliburton is emerging as a star, he's not on Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's level yet. Now, anything else?
No, I got it.
I just you know me. I'm gonna stand up.
That was a good response.
I think OKC is a better team than Indiana.
Yes, they are.
It has nothing to do with the team. We're talking about the youth and it's being the playoffs. And all I'm saying, if Milwaukee's got 2 of their star players, and you go around that league, you take 2 star players off of a team that they're playing should be able to beat that team. All I'm saying is, if we use that excuse there, then we don't use it.
It's apples and oranges.
They are a better team, even though they are young. They're young, and they are a better team right now. They're a better team, and I think Reggie pointed out that they have a great coach because that team doesn't make silly mistakes like a lot of younger teams make. They actually play pretty well. Speaking of silly mistakes, did you guys catch the Nuggets game the other night with the Joker? They beat Los Angeles, but it seemed like the Joker turned the ball over like 100 times to me. A lot of silly passes. 9, Chuck? He had 9 turnovers?
He had 9 turnovers in that game.
Wow. Nevertheless, they still prevailed against the Lakers, so this is a part of the show that Chuck really didn't want to talk about.
I'm okay with it.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like LA laid down. LA battled. Denver, look, man. So since we're here, Michael Porter Jr. which we thought maybe because he was having some family issues. And by the way, he had another brother arrested the day
DWI today.
Right, that's 3 now. By the way, that's been.
He had another brother arrested.
Yeah. But anyway, we thought maybe that was going to affect him a little bit. Well, it did in a positive way. He played out of his brain. He was 7 points over his yearly average. He averaged 24 or 23 points in that series. And Michael Porter was great. Jamal Murray was great. Of course, Aaron Gordon had that one game. He was awesome. And Joker is always Joker. He's very, very, very good, if not the best player in the league. So the point I make is if Porter and Jamal Murray play like that against everybody, they're going to win again.
Of course.
I take my hat off. They made plays. They made shots.
So
one last thing about that game, LA missed 9 free throws. 9 free throws. Denver missed 1. There you go. They lost by 2 points. If that game had got back to LA,
I was thinking Los Angeles gave that game away.
Who was going to have a game 7?
I was thinking Los Angeles gave that game away. They played well, but you hit the nail on the head, missing all of those free throws.
Free throws was bad.
Woulda, coulda, shoulda.
I know.
Okay.
Hey, listen, and one other silly thing about it, we led, 70% of that? It's funny. In that series, we led 70% of the time, and we lost 4 games to 1.
We led 70% of the time.
Well, the Lakers led 70% of the time.
They should have put Chuck in the game, David. That's the problem right there.
He's the head coach of the Lakers, and he's the father of LeBron James.
Well, he did okay. He had 30, 12, and 9, and 4 steals. I don't know what else you want the 39-year-old, 21-year-old.
Hey, I have no argument with LeBron. LeBron is he's fine.
He didn't have the 12 points that Halliburton had last night, but yeah, he played okay.
Oh Lord, we back and forth now. Don't get me
They're
started.
back in my ear again.
I'm still in the playoffs.
Yeah, that's what they're telling me from the floor. Remind Chuck who's still in the playoffs and who's not. Hey, Minnesota took care of their opponent pretty easy. Phoenix, they vanquished Phoenix. Hey, David, is Phoenix done?
AD lost he hurt his shoulder too. That David, I'm surprised he didn't make a mention of that whole issue with his shoulder because he always
look, AD at least got up.
Yeah, he did.
He played well. He played well.
Now, what was the question, Larry?
Phoenix.
That stretch of time, they lost some points.
Chuck, we're moving
Phoenix,
on, okay? We're moving on.
Phoenix is a badly constructed team. Kevin Durant is past his prime. He's still a good player, but he's past his peak. Maybe that's a better way to say that. He's not one of the top 15 best players in the league anymore. That's a fact.
So you don't think he'll make All NBA this year?
No, I don't. No, I don't.
That'll be interesting.
Well, because there are new emerging stars, and if the voting is correct, if it is fair, he won't be one of the top 15 players. No.
You know, I just feel funny when people say that the voting is fair. That sounds kind of familiar to someone else. If I didn't win, something wasn't right.
Donald J.
Right. Let's just use it. If he
We're not talking politics here.
Well, I'm just, it just has a familiar ring. Let's just see if he makes it. If he makes it, then he's one of the top 15 players, right?
He would be the favorite of several voters in the NBA, but I don't think he's one of the top 15 players. I'll just say David Burnett's top 15 does not include Kevin Durant, and even though he's a DMV hero, sorry, Kevin.
I don't think anybody cares about that. I think he averages 27 points. That's not bad on a team with another very high volume shooter. Chuck, what do you think Phoenix looks like? You think they're done?
I think there are going to be some changes there. I don't know because they've got some payroll issues. They don't have any draft picks, and guys want out. They say some guys want out of there. So I don't know what Phoenix is going to ultimately do. I do think Kevin Durant still has some gas left in the tank in the right.
He's still a good player. He's still a good player.
Exactly.
He's not a great player anymore.
So let me ask you.
In other words, I don't think Kevin was the reason why they lost that series or got swept in that series. They got other problems on that team besides.
I agree with that.
Let me ask you this, David.
Yes, sir.
If your team is up by 1 and Phoenix has the ball and Kevin Durant is shooting it, how worried are you on a scale from 1 to 10?
He's a bucket.
All I can think of is that Kevin Durant didn't win a series when his foot stepped over the three-point line. There's no guarantees with Kevin Durant anymore. He's just a good player. He's
Now,
not a great
in
player.
that situation, the team wasn't up. The team wasn't trailing by one, so we can use
Well, your point is valid. He's an outstanding mid-range shooter.
Are you concerned when he shoots it?
If he's shooting against the Pacers and it's 1 point and the Pacers are down, this version of the Pacers, I think his shot goes in because it's the Pacers, a young Pacer team.
Okay. I would be concerned.
Hey, our buddy David is really hedging his bets tonight, isn't he?
You know what?
It's not just the Pacers. He feel that way regardless of what it is. I said his team, so I guess he felt that way. But any team, that's how I used to feel about Larry Bird. I didn't like the Celtics, but oh my goodness,
I know you're not comparing Kevin Durant to Larry Bird.
No, I'm just talking. Well, taking a shot at the end of the game, I feel very similar about those guys.
I'll take Larry Bird 1,000 times out of 1,000 for the last shot over
in their prime. Both of them in their prime.
Larry Bird won 3 consecutive MVPs, and it was no joke.
We're talking about a shot.
We're talking about taking a shot at the end of the game.
He's a great shooter.
Yeah, taking a shot at the end of the game. That's what we're talking. That's how I judge who I'm afraid of. If they can put the ball in their hand.
He's the one who told the All-Star participants who was going to finish in second place in the three-point contest, and he was correct. This dude was ice cold.
Okay, but I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna go back. I'm not comparing those two. I feared Larry Bird for that very same reason,
and for good reason.
And I feared Durant for the very same reason. He's taking a shot at the end of the game, and he's against my team. I'm not feeling good about that.
He's a step below Larry Bird.
I think he can probably outshoot Larry Bird now.
Now? Yeah. Larry's 67 years old.
No excuses, man. No excuses, man. Okay. Minnesota and Denver. Who wins that series, Chuck?
Boy, I tell you something, Larry. That's the series I want to see now that LA is gone. Man, that's going to be one heck of a series. I hope America watches. Us geeks, us basketball aficionados, we're definitely going to tune in. It's going to be great TV. You talk about a young superstar. They've got one coming in that boy, Anthony Edwards, at 22 years old. He does, and I hate to even use this phrase, he does look like a mini Michael Jordan. He really does. He has the swagger. He has the bravado. He talks the smack. He has the look. He can elevate. He can score. He ain't scared of the moment. They got other pieces on that team, yes. Veterans. They got size. That series is going to be a hell of a series, I think.
What do you think, David?
I think Anthony Edwards is tremendous. He's become one of my favorite players. But I think the game will come down to whether Gobert can do anything with the Joker. And I'm not sure he can. And I think it's going to come down to the center play. And Gobert is a one-dimensional player. A Joker has multi-dimensions. He will embarrass Gobert in many occasions. So I give the edge to Denver in the center position. And because of that, I say Denver wins, but Minnesota is a great, great up-and-coming team.
I'm looking for Minnesota to beat them. They beat them 3 out of 4 during the season, and I know the playoffs is much more adjustments and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
But Karl Anthony Towns is kind of hard. And they beat them twice last year when Towns was out. Towns is healthy this year.
And I wouldn't be surprised if they did win. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they did win because they're a good team. They're very
like Chuck always says about me, and like Chuck, I'm looking for Minnesota to play them. I'm looking forward to that series. I just hope it goes 7 games.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, before we leave the NBA, changing of the guard. LeBron James, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, all are still among the elite players. Or are they? Has the guard changed? And David, I'll start with you.
I think the guard is changing. The players you mentioned are valuable, great players, and will be Hall of Famers in that very liberal Hall of Fame.
But if it wasn't a liberal Hall of Fame, would they get in?
They would all be in the Hall of Fame, every one of them.
Right.
But it's time. The problem with the NBA has always been
You're right, Reggie.
they hang on and hang on to certain players too long. It is time for them to fully embrace the new breed. Anthony Edwards is the most exciting, he probably is the most exciting player in the league. He still doesn't get the credit that he's due.
He's going to he's probably going to make first team All NBA this year.
I hope he does.
Well,
I'm talking about the public adulation. The adulation is still for some of these guys, and the NBA's got to do a better job in marketing the other players. SGA, that singing commercial he and Holmgren do is kind of horrible, but it's funny. And I'm glad to see those two dudes because they're part of the future of the NBA, and the NBA needs to embrace that future because you got the ability of players is increasing exponentially. They can do things the guys couldn't do 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago, and it's spectacular.
They should put name tags on them in that commercial because nobody know who those two people are.
They know who they are now. They know.
It depends on if you watch basketball. I mean,
they
if
know.
you've been watching the last couple of years, you would know those two guys.
I watch basketball, and the first 2 or 3 times I saw that commercial, I still didn't know
who SGA was.
You don't watch basketball because they've been getting a lot of press. Holmgren, you had to know Holmgren, even if you watch college basketball. You should have known him.
I didn't.
Oh, you didn't know.
And Greg, don't let that go unmentioned. Greg Fenner made a point too, and I agree with Greg. It'd be hard pressed to come up with 15 players better than Kevin Durant. It'd be very hard pressed, David. I know what you're thinking, but it'd still be pretty.
This year, he is not. He's not going to be in the top three teams for All Pro. He's not.
He's on the Olympic team too. Right?
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Right.
The All NBA, All Pro team has players from all kind of different leagues.
Hey, what's up, Dano?
Yeah, we got one of our high school classmates. Great basketball player in his own right.
Pretty good baseball player. He's a pretty good golfer now.
Baseball player too. Yeah.
Dane needs a picture.
I know. You talking about a guy that can shoot that thing? Dane Edley can shoot that thing.
If they had the corner 3-point shot, his average would have gone up 50% because he's loaded up from there.
Then he went on and played at Loyola. Then he played at Loyola of Chicago too in college. So Dane was a hell of a. He was on the last of Big John Thompson's high school team before he took over Georgetown. Dane was the shooting guard on that team. So
all right.
Okay. The other night after the Lakers game, LeBron James gave a pretty good interview, but he was asked the question, will he be back with the Lakers next year? And he was kind of coy. He said, matter of fact, he was more than coy. He said, I'm not going to answer that question right now. Now, the Lakers will pay him $51 million next year, more than anybody else could play. But, Chuck, do you think he'll be back in L.A.?
Yes, I do. And I think that was just all posturing. He wants some things, and I don't blame him. He wants some things like maybe he wants a coaching change. Maybe he wants J.J. Redick to be his coach. I don't know. I think he wants a coaching change. I think he wants to put Bronny on that team.
Yeah, that's what I was
I also think he wants to make some personnel changes on that team. That team never, in retrospect, they never should have signed Gabe Vincent. He didn't. That's not what they need. And so I think he's going to want some say.
He was behind the change, the trade Kuzma and KCP to Washington for Michael Westbrook. That was LeBron's doing right there. And there goes, that trade worked out disastrously. But
it was a disaster.
Maybe he needs to let the general manager do it. David, LeBron coming back to LA?
I don't know for sure. I think he's keeping his options open, and that's a smart thing to do. I know he's thinking about his son. He's, next season he'll have 21 seasons, or is this his 21st season?
Next year will be his 22nd.
Yeah,
22. I mean, it's only 2 players have ever even played that long. I think he's going to negotiate something for Bronny. And whatever team will embrace his son and bring him on to the roster is the team that LeBron will go to. If it's the Lakers, he'll be with the Lakers. If it's with some other team, and I pray it's not the Indiana Pacers, I don't want LeBron.
But he doesn't want them either, so it works out great.
You don't know what he wants,
Well, you don't either.
but you're his father.
Okay, I'm good. All right, stop it. Hey, there's a team. There's a team in the East that has salary cap money right now.
The Knicks.
Right.
Oh, Philly. Oh,
No, New York has it right now. Now they're getting ready to probably give Brunson a big bump up, but if he went to New York, he might be the first player to win titles with 4 different teams. I think I would like New York's chances. I think even if New York had to give up, say, anybody on their team, probably Randall, but that thought's out there for me.
He's too loyal to AD. He went and got AD for that team. He loves AD. They share the same agent, etc. Bron, his family is there. He ain't leaving LA.
Yeah, I think he wants to be in LA, but and $51 million is that's.
Well, I don't even think it's the money.
He's a billionaire.
He's a billionaire. It's not even.
Look, only people without. I have a degree in economics, so we learned a long time ago. Only people without $1 million that knows what $1 million can do say he's got enough money.
I'm without $1 million,
and they're giving him $51 million. Okay. He knows what that money can do. That's it for basketball for right now. Unless you guys have something else you want to add on.
I just want to make one mention, and I don't want to get into this heavy, but Larry, you've piqued my interest in terms of things off the court. Well, there's something going on now in the NBA that we need to keep an eye on, and maybe in a later show we should talk about, and that is NBC wants back in to the NBA game. And I saw something yesterday where they want to spend, or putting together a deal to spend $2.5 billion to buy into the next version of the NBA contract. Now you add that $2.5 billion along with the ESPN and all that stuff, and Amazon wants to get into the streaming thing, etc. I'm telling you, if we think Bradley Beal had a ridiculous contract at $50 million a year, you really going to see some ridiculous contracts coming forward.
Well, let me say this. Yeah, NBC did a great job back in the 90s, late 80s and 90s when they had the contract. NBC, I have no doubt NBC will do a great job with the NBA.
Me neither.
But
I agree.
But I do not want to see TNT lose the NBA. TNT is the superior network for covering the NBA. They have the best. They have the best studio show. They have the best play-by-play and analysts. It just feels better watching a game from TNT than, for instance, ESPN/ABC. It just feels better.
Yeah, so I think that's
Sports Doctor. Sports Doctor, you back with us?
Well, he's frozen right now.
In this instance, would this be a rhetorical question? In this instance, would this be a rhetorical question?
Oh, he learned a new word today. Very good. I hear you.
We hear you.
But we should get into that conversation at a later date, though.
Oh, no, you're right. My position is I think Netflix, if they take it over, they got a worldwide audience, and basketball is the second most popular sport in the world. Look beyond these borders. I see.
There's a danger if you narrowcast too much. Because you'll take it away from a broad audience. And the NBA and basketball in general needs a wide audience in the United States. They could get more money, be great for salaries, be great for the bottom line of the NBA, but it won't be great for harvesting the NBA down the line.
Well, I'm not talking about exclusively. I'm just talking about adding them so that just like right now, it's not exclusive to any network. ABC ESPN has one and TNT has it.
Well, keep in mind, every NBA team has their own local channel covering the games. Here in Indianapolis, Valley Sports, which used to be Fox Sports, a regional, covers every single Pacer game.
And they would still have their local stuff.
Right.
But they could broadcast it around the world and people could get paid.
NBA is right behind soccer.
Yeah. Okay, NFL. We're gonna move on to the NFL. The draft was last week. We all gave our little brief previews of it, viewpoints. Let's talk about the NBA draft. I think there were 6 quarterbacks drafted in the first 12 picks. History has showed us that quarterbacks don't really work out that well. So the majority of them don't. How did the Commanders do picking Jalen Daniels? And I'll start with you, Chuck. Was that the right pick?
I'm 100% okay with that draft pick. Of course,
Mhm.
as you guys know, that's not what I wanted us to do. I wanted us to take Justin Fields, and I didn't want to roll the dice on rookie quarterback. But of the rookie quarterbacks, if we couldn't get Caleb, Jaden was the one I wanted. We got him. So let's hope, it works out.
So Chuck's like
So you
Deion
would
Sanders.
have taken Justin Fields over Jalen Daniels.
I would have.
Chuck's like Deion Sanders. He plays for the Lakers and the Commanders. See, what an athlete! What an athlete! Earl, you disagree with that selection? I mean, you disagree with Chuck's position?
I thought it was the best selection to take. I might have even taken him over Caleb, and I love Caleb. I'm just questioning about Chuck talking about taking Fields over Daniels.
Yeah. I thought I've talked about that in previous shows.
You have. That's why. Yeah. You
So
didn't say you take it. Fields is nothing, man.
Well, we don't know if Jaden is. Well, I just hope Jaden can play too.
Well, what we do know that Fields has done nothing the time that he's been in it.
I wouldn't use
nothing.
He's done nothing. I agree with Earl. His resume is blank.
Okay.
It just happens to be somebody that you like, Charles. And when you like somebody, you're all into it. That guy's a bum, man. Come on. He's not a bum. He's not a bum. He is not a bum. He is not a bum.
I think the jury's still out on him.
I'm using the logic that Larry introduced the show with was the quarterbacks, the odds of them making it doesn't work out as well. We talked about the 2021 draft who had Trevor Lawrence one.
I'm not
Zach
talking about
Wilson
none of
two,
them. I'm talking about
and they were all bums. And they were all bums, except for Trevor. But the point I make, and then that's the same one that Justin was in, and Zach and Mac Jones. My point is, I hope the guy can play. I hope he can. I just know Justin can play a little bit.
David, did the Commanders pick the right person?
Yes.
Okay.
They had to pick him. They had to pick him, and provided he stays healthy, I think he'll be very good for the Commanders. And maybe even I'll cheer for the Commanders if he does well.
Wow, we're getting fans in Indianapolis now. That's really good.
Well, I lived 25 years in the DC area, so I do have some, emotional ties and family that are still there.
Earl lived here longer than that. He doesn't give a crap about him. Just say
It's just, everybody's different. You can have fans, real fans like Charles, who root for teams through and through. You have fans like David, if they live there, they'll have some kind of emotional ties. And then you have fans like me. If you don't win, I don't deal with you. That's all.
I'm kind of transactional too.
Yeah.
I hope they do well, but I don't lose any sleep. David, while I have you, what did you think of Atlanta's draft pick? Selecting Michael Penix after they signed Kirk Cousins to that $180 million contract.
I don't have a problem with that. I've seen a lot of criticism of Atlanta. How dare you sign Kirk Cousins and then get Michael Penix? It makes it. They're thinking about the future. First of all, Kirk Cousins is still recovering from an injury. There's no guarantee that he'll even be ready for game one of the regular season. Number two, he's 36 years old, 35, 36 years old. He only has a couple more productive seasons left. By the time he's done, Michael Penix could be ready. Now, again, I'm not the biggest Michael Penix fan, but I understand why the Atlanta brass picked him. You got to have a transition plan in place. Green Bay shows that kind of thinking can work. They've had Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Love. They were ready. You have to be ready for the transition, and I think Atlanta is doing just the same.
Chuck, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's the same situation? I hear what David's saying, but the other situations of a quarterbacks are already there when they selected the backup. A little unusual to pay someone $50 million to sign, then $100 million the first year on top of that. What do you think about that?
Hey, Greg, first of all, Greg, that was a good point. And Reggie, your point was you had an interesting point as well just a second ago. So look, here's the thing. I wouldn't have done it. Atlanta has other needs. They need an edge rush. They got a lot of other needs besides a quarterback that could pay off in a couple of years. But that's not their logic. So if they buy that logic and can hold on and their quarterback Cousins can help them now, and they can make it with the team that they have in place, so be it. They're not my team. So I don't really,
you're not with them, huh?
I don't really care. They ain't my team. I like Penix a lot. I was hoping he was going to fall to the Raiders. But they got other needs on that Atlanta team besides quarterbacks. And I don't know how you can give a guy $180 million and then go out and draft a guy.
But he's injured. He's injured.
So why give him $180
million?
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter. That's what the market demands for a guy like Kirk Cousins.
Okay,
I understand that. So I don't see a problem. Atlanta ain't gonna win anything anyway this next year.
Well, see, that's not true, David. They could win the South. The South is not that strong.
They're not going to.
Oh, okay.
I'm telling you right now. I've already
David
looked into the
is
future.
clairvoyant.
I know.
I've looked into the future, and they've determined the champion, and it will be Tampa Bay in the South.
Okay.
Sports Doctor, what did you think about that move that Atlanta made, drafting Michael Penix after signing Kirk Cousins for $180 million over the next 4 years?
100 guaranteed.
I didn't think much of it. I mean, I understand it. As David said, David brought up some vital points. The guy coming off a serious injury. He only got about 2 years left. Let's say 3 if he's very, very lucky. They're gonna need a quarterback in the future. This guy's very good. I think he was the third. He would have been the third one that I would have picked coming out of the draft. Anyway, I don't think there's nothing wrong with you're trying to show up the present, and you're trying to make sure you have something in the cupboard for the future. What's the problem?
Well, Chuck kind of raised a point. They had some other needs on that team. So if you're gonna get the quarterback,
you can fulfill all the needs that you can fill all the needs that are needed. If they don't have a quarterback, it don't matter. You have to have a quarterback. So what's the purpose?
Wasn't Kirk Cousins a quarterback?
Filling all those needs, and you ain't got no quarterback.
Well, I'm trying to think of how many titles Kirk Cousins has. 0. He's a good quarterback. He's proven himself. He's made a ton of money. Smartest in terms of negotiating contracts and of all the quarterbacks. Got guaranteed money every single time. All I know is he doesn't have much longer.
So
and he hasn't won anything yet.
So maybe they shouldn't have signed
him in the first place.
Right.
Well, they get a quarterback that is a good quarterback. See, you have to at least have a good quarterback.
You gotta have a quarterback, man. You gotta have a quarterback.
You gotta have that.
Even
if he's hurt.
They could have drafted him like they did.
We could have drafted. We could have drafted him when you just finished spending 15 minutes telling us how the odds are of one of them being so good. So why would you draft somebody like that? At least we know Kirk Cousins.
So why not draft a wide receiver? Why not draft a top
wide receiver? Throw the ball to him. They don't have a quarterback. They did not have a quarterback.
Okay, is Kirk Cousins a quarterback or not? That's what I'm getting confused with.
Yes.
Yes, he is a quarterback.
Yes.
Okay, can he throw it to a wide receiver?
Yes, he can.
Aging.
Okay, so why not draft a wide receiver? Both of them are not going to be. Well, Kirk Cousins could get hurt. Chances are both of them won't be throwing this year.
What is your problem with that? Is your problem?
No, I think the other logic. I'm just arguing the other point. I think Chuck had raised a point. They have some other needs, and I think that's a very valid point.
Those words coming out of Chuck's mouth was lucky. Chuck is only worried about that man, the money they paying him. He don't care about nothing else. Chuck just thinks these guys getting paid too much money. Come on now. Come on. The show rolling.
I'm sitting right here, right?
I'm looking at you right now.
Nevertheless, you made a valid point.
The only reason why you're griefing, y'all, beefing, is because of the money.
Honestly, I said they're not my team, so I don't really care. They're not my team, so I don't really care. I just think that team has other needs.
There's several for 4 years you complained about people's salary that you didn't care about. What are you talking about? You always bitch about people's salaries. Get out of here. That's what you're talking about.
Hey, we're running out of time. This has been a very lively discussion. So
one of my favorites, actually.
So let's go to closing comments. I'll start with you, Earl. Do you have any closing comments?
I do.
What is your closing comment, sir?
I've been fortunate enough to see Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I didn't see him when he came to D.C. to play Power Memorial, but I have been a big fan of his all my life, ever since he's playing basketball in high school. And from that, I followed the Lakers. I have loved the Lakers all my life because of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm always going to be a Lakers fan. People ask me, how can I be a Lakers fan, but I'm always saying negative things about LeBron? The only reason why I talk about LeBron negatively is because I've just been tired of all the hype. I have friends and fans like Charles Snowden and others on the internet that just overhype LeBron James. So it makes me dislike him. Okay, they just overhype him.
Let him speak.
I know I'm talking more than a minute on time. I'm sorry, but I very rarely do closing remarks. But LeBron James is the second greatest basketball player of all time. This guy, he's 39 years old. He played in the game the other night. He was a warrior. I always say bad things about him, but I do like him, and I acknowledge him as the second greatest basketball player ever. That's my closing remarks.
Thank you. Sharice, thanks for your comment. Thanks for tuning in as well.
Thanks, Sharice.
David, you have a closing comment?
Actually, I just want to say we're 25 days away from the greatest day in life. That's all I want to say.
Okay. Chuck, do you have a closing comment?
I do. First of all, I want to give my little buddy Earl a high five. Thank you, Go. I'm okay with what you just said. Great closing comments. So mine will be real quick. I want to talk about a young up-and-coming baseball player currently. His name is Elly De La Cruz. He plays shortstop for the Cincinnati Reds. He's 6'5". He's 200 pounds. In the month of April, he had 8 home runs, 19 stolen bases. He 18 RBIs. The other day, he made a throw from the shortstop to the first baseman. It's the fastest throw recorded in history, in baseball history, since they've been recording. And he's the fastest player. He's got 19 stolen bases. He's the fastest player in the league. He is the kind of guy, athletically, when you watch baseball, you go, wow. He's somebody that I would encourage our audience to check out. His name is Elly De La Cruz from the Dominican Republic. You know they make shortstops. Check him out. He's a hell of a player.
Yeah, they make baseball players. Period there.
A lot of shortstops, too.
Yeah. So my closing comments, thank you, Chuck. My closing comment is going to be on Candace Parker. She announced her retirement this past week. And, I started thinking about her. And, a lot of times when we talk about the GOAT, I don't like to engage in those conversations because a lot of them are really kind of foolish in my view. And a lot of times we do it in the abstract. We look at the person who's popular right now. But just to tell you about her, some of her accomplishments was she was the Gatorade High School Player of the Year 2 years, the first person to win it as a junior. One or two people that won it as a junior, but the first person to win it back-to-back. Then she went to college, and she was a star player on the University of Tennessee team, which won a championship, and she was the MVP in the Final Four both years. Goes to the WNBA, and just like Wes Unseld, she was the Rookie of the Year and MVP. She also had a championship where she won the most outstanding player in the finals. She's been on a couple of Olympic teams, and I'm forgetting some things. But the main thing I remember about, a couple of more things. She was the first woman to dunk in the NCAA women's tournament game, and the first woman in the WNBA to dunk twice in a game, and the second woman in the WNBA to dunk, period. The first one was Lisa Leslie, in case you were wondering. So she's had a stellar career. She's since transitioned to doing analyst work for TNT as well as CBS for the men's basketball tournament and the NBA. Great job on the court and off the court. She's always insightful, very thorough on her analysis. And I just want to take my hat off to a great player who may be the GOAT. But again, I don't get into those arguments. Hey, that's it for this week's show. I'm going to invite you to join Earl and I this Saturday on his signature show. The doctor is in, he lets me sit in with him. It's at 11 o'clock Saturday mornings. I appreciate all of our viewers for tuning in, and your comments are always welcome. Thanks a lot, and we'll see you next week.
All right.
Show, guys. You guys bought it this week. You bought it this week.